You know, sometimes I find myself at an impasse with how to go about criticizing certain things in Destiny because it's very easy for things to just kind of devolve into an utter shitfest with everyone calling each other bad and dumb and wrong instead of people hearing out like cogent arguments and considering the nuance of certain situations. And if you're wondering why I sound like I'm far away, it's because instead of being at my desk and confronting this issue, I'm sitting on my bed amongst two very good dogs, very good boys, both of them, even though they're both girls, but they're still good boys. Because I feel more at ease here than addressing the topic for today. All I'll say is that as we go into this, please consider the following. Just because this is an opinion doesn't mean that you have to agree with it. Feel free to give me your thoughts in the comments down below always. I will always be open to talking with you about these things. But, the Lay Monarch, the bow that needs no name, the Voldemort of weapons in Destiny, needs to be addressed. And you want to know why? Just go ahead and watch this clip.
Face y'all, face off. It's gonna be harder without your face on. You niggas food, I've been a chef like Raekwon. Gun kick, break arms. I don't mingle if I'm arm slide and I light your country up like Akon. I'm sitting pretty, getting top like a Drake song. Watching Bob Ross, but her face is what I paint on. She tell me take my chains off, bitch. I keep my chains on. Finished it, just be a good amigo and take off. Exotic smoking, exotic until the green. My own kind of wave on. Make shit look good like Avon, fantastic. But before you get flamed on, thinking shit all Gucci.
Do you see why I prefer to be on my bed where I can hide from this demonic thing now? Let's get into it. Alright, so because of the nature of this conversation, I'm going to be very direct here and just put my cards out on the table right away so we kind of know where we stand. Lay Monarch is a weapon that can at the same time both not be overpowered in the traditional sense, but also be a weapon that has a problem in endgame PvP specifically. Anytime you're playing Iron Banner, Trials of Osiris, or competitive modes, you're going to have an issue with Lay Monarch in its basic design. So I'm going to lay out the issues with Lay Monarch, some potential solutions, and also why this discussion is so hard to have because we're dealing with a very specific situation here. You see, typically, when it comes to discussions of balance, usually these discussions are very straightforward. Is it broken or not? Here are some good recent examples. Dune Marchers. Dune Marchers were very clearly broken. Bottom Tree Striker, very clearly broken. Stompies, very clearly warp the Hunter subclass to the point that if you don't use Stompies, it's only for very specific builds. Otherwise, you're putting yourself at a noticeable disadvantage. Like, these types of discussions tend to be very straightforward, very black and white, and very easy to diagnose the problems. It's because the items that we're talking about are either such outliers that they require to be used, or they are so busted that not using them puts you at a severe disadvantage, right? So when we look at Lay Monarch, we have a very unique situation. If you were to pick up and use Lay Monarch, you would probably have like an okay time using it in quick play because, you know, it's a bow, it does a lot of damage, but it's very slow to get kills by itself, especially if you use 2 bow shots, right? Because of the charge time of bows, they're naturally slow to get final blows. On its surface, Lay Monarch doesn't seem like an overpowered weapon whatsoever, but then you start considering further nuances. Well, if you put damage over time on someone, that restricts their ability to regen. So in a restricted game mode like Trials, that is effectively time that they cannot push. Then you get a little bit deeper. Yeah, Lay Monarch may not kill in one shot, but it does high enough damage that with any damage boost, it can one shot, making it effectively a primary ammo sniper rifle. That's pretty bad in limited game modes like Trials as well. Editor Jack swooping in for a quick second just to also add on to the fact that not only does Lay Monarch do comparable damage to high impact snipers, you also have to consider that the ammo economy in Trials is such that a massive part of it at a high level is baiting out sniper shots to avoid getting picked. You know that at the start of a round a sniper has 2 shots, and they have to make the most of those 2 shots until they get a kill and get a brick. So if you can bait those shots out, you have a massive advantage. Lay Monarch subverts that because of the infinite ammo that primary weapons have access to. And back to the video. Then you get like another layer deeper. Oathkeepers allow hunters to bypass the 1 bit of skill gap with the weapon, hitting the perfect draw arrows for the poison damage, meaning that a hunter, combined with any damage boost like a empowered rift from a warlock teammate, has easy access to primary damage that can one-shot people. That's bad. So compared to a weapon like Last Word or Ace of Spades, Lay Monarch doesn't outwardly say what is so stupid good about it. There is some nuance, there is some effort that the player has to put in, but when you do that, suddenly you break the very delicate balance of the game in half. But Lion! If you just have 10 resilience, then it doesn't matter. Lay Monarch can't one-shot. You're fucking wrong. Watch. I put the rift down, shoot me in the face. So dumb.
You can survive it on 10 resilience, fuck off.
Yep, max resilience. Dead as fuck. Now listen, I could continue to pontificate in elaborate prose for eons and eons, every single facet of what is wrong with Lay Monarch, but I don't really want to waste your time. Here's the thing, it's very simple, simple math, alright, you ready? Lay Monarch plus damage equals dumb. So now that we have this theory, this equation if you will, what can we do to change this? Well, I think you can go 2 routes. You can adjust Lay Monarch as it exists right now, or you can rework the weapon. Obviously, reworking the weapon is a lot more time consuming, and I'm assuming Bungie doesn't want to do that to a 2.5, nearly 3-year-old exotic, but it's not totally unprecedented, so we'll explore that in a minute. For right now, for Lay Monarch as it exists in the game right now, I think it's pretty easy. In PvP, Bungie, it should have its precision damage reduced, and it should have, I think, the burn time either reduced or the burn damage reduced. Because again, outside of outright killing you, one of the most oppressive aspects of Lay Monarch is how when you get hit by it, your recovery is effectively doubled unless you have easy access to healing, and that recovery time being doubled is enough for teams to go unga bunga W key shotgun unga bunga bunga and close a distance and punish you for it. That's why you'll see teams run just 1 Lay Monarch and either no snipers, 1 sniper, or 2 shotguns. And what they'll do is they'll have the Lay Monarch player creep up to mid, get the first peek shot on you, and now that you can't heal unless you're a warlock, they go full W key and burn you down for it. That's very strong, and it's only because of how it inhibits your recovery, just like Thorn, that it does so. On top of the fact that because of the damage output, you're effectively already one-shot. It's a very deadly combination. So if you do this, you reduce the damage by, let's just say, like 10%. I think that would be enough to make it not one-shot with Charged with Light or Empowered Rifts. I don't care so much with one-shots with Bubble. Weapons of Light is a very rare buff in PvP, even rarer in Trials, so I'm not that worried about it. So let Bubble do its thing, but just make it so that Lay Monarch isn't so oppressive in that regard. Option 2, if you're feeling kind of frisky, let's redesign Lay Monarch and make it a more fun, intuitive weapon with a bit of a higher skill gap, in my opinion. So, keep in mind, with option 2, regardless, Lay Monarch should not be able to one-shot with the Charged with Light damage boost, the Empowered Rift damage boost, none of these very minor damage boosts. That still needs to happen, as it's bad for the game, right? Anyways, how I would change Lay Monarch is I would make it to where it doesn't get the poison damage on body shots. It only gets the poison damage on precision hits. And you move that Firefly effect that you normally get on precision hits to the final blows. So this would make it to where you are punished if you don't get precision hits with Lay Monarch because you get no poison damage. And every time you get a kill, you get that satisfaction of that AoE explosion. Now on kill, as a nice little bonus to promote you actually getting final blows with the weapon, you get a new bonus. This bonus would kind of be like kill clip for the bow, but instead of a damage increase, it now applies that AoE poison to every shot for a few seconds. So even body shots will be applying AoE damage over time to everyone it splashes to. I think this would be really cool. I think this would be a cool way to make Lay Monarch really strong in PvE still, and also a lot more fun to use in PvP because it will encourage you to make this the main weapon you go for final blows with. As of right now, outside of one-shotting, Late Monarch gets relegated to the support role where you're just supposed to put damage out so your teammates can clean up via team-shotting. I think my changes will push Late Monarch into a more proactive role and something that requires a bit more intuition and wherewithal from the user. Once again, this would be dumb overpowered if you could one-shot with a damage boost outside of bubble, so we need those previous changes on top of it. So, to close out this video, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about how to counter and play against Late Monarch as it currently exists, because who knows if it'll actually get changed or not. Honestly, one of the best counters for Late Monarch on Titan is to run the Sighting Ramparts exotic. The shoot-through barricade is really strong, in Trials especially, as long as you play it correctly, and worst case scenario, it gives you that kind of buffer to where you can take your normal peaks without having to worry about getting pressured off by Late Monarch. Alternatively, one of the better ways to handle Late Monarch players is to play uncommon angles and to play aggressively. Take a map like Endless Veil for example. Instead of peeking the standard mid-sniping lane, consider doing pushes through B into L's or pushes through underground and flanking either spawn. Playing this way, fast and smart, can get real up close and personal with these Late Monarch users and put them at a disadvantage. Just be careful that their teammates typically are playing aggressive as well, so you get into a lot of 1v1 shotgun fights. That playstyle is not for everyone. If you're someone who likes to snipe more and play more passive in Trials, unfortunately you might. Again though, the Sighting Ramparts are a great option in that case. As we wind down here for the outro of the video, I just want to say that at the end of the day, use whatever the fuck you want in the Crucible. Don't let the words of some idiot like me influence whether you choose to use something or not. I'm only here to point out some inconsistencies that I find when I play Trials or endgame PvP, and things that I'm personally dissatisfied with the current meta. If Late Monarch doesn't get changed, is it the biggest deal? No. Is the state of the meta overall still very healthy? I would say actually yes. I do think that Late Monarch deserves to be looked at though, and hopefully you consider what I've said. And if you have a different opinion from me, or you have other suggestions for how to change it, please leave them in the comments down below. I'll be down there reading and interacting with you guys all the time. Other than that, make sure that you hit that like button. Make sure that you subscribe for more content. We are going hard on the Destiny content to start the new year. Hope you guys had a cool, safe, and happy holidays. Get out there, start grinding, and look out for wild bowmen in the field. Later. Oh, who's a good dog? Who's a good dog? Who's a good dog? Oh, who's good? Who's a good dog? Look at you, oh, you're so fluffy. So fluffy, so soft. Oh, who's a good girl? Oh, who's a good girl? Who's a good dog?